Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, hi, hello, welcome. I am Sherrilyn. I am so glad you found me. If you're not new here, welcome back. Thank you so much for showing your support, sending me love. I am loving talking to you guys in the comments. It means so much to me. I freaking appreciate you guys so much. Every day I see my channel growing more and more, and it's because of the love and support that you guys give me. So I can't ever tell you how much I love and appreciate you, and I'll never stop. I want to start this video first off by acknowledging just what's going on in the world right now. I would not feel right if I tried to just go into a true crime story and not acknowledging all of the stuff that is happening around us. How did we get here? How do we change it? This past few days, I have felt shame. I felt embarrassed that I haven't done more with my privilege, with my voice to support and acknowledge and uplift and value people in my life who I love immensely. I have felt so much guilt that it's tough to even find the right words to say. It's heartbreaking and devastating to just swallow that pill and come to the realization that just because I love them, that's not enough. I need to actively fight. I need to actively defend, and I need to actively be a voice for them. With that being said, every year my husband and I, we like to make a donation to a charity. And from this point forward, we're also going to be donating to organizations and foundations and causes that are going to help make a change in our world. For the next couple days, I'm going to be researching to find an organization that is going to help make a change. And when I do, I will be updating you on Saturday's video so that I can let you guys know where we chose. And I know that all of you can't necessarily make a financial contribution these days. Income is not easily expendable right now. There are a lot of things that you can do. You can sign petitions. You can just even simply educate yourself. There's a wealth of knowledge out there. I will share some links in the description of some resources that can help you get involved in some way if you're feeling like you can't financially contribute, but you would like to do something to make your voice heard and participate. So thank you guys so much for hearing me out. I don't have the right words to say. All I can say is I support you. I love you. I'm here for you. And I will do everything on my part that I can. Hi guys, future Sherrilyn checking in. I just wanted to quickly update you. When I filmed this video, I filmed it at the very beginning of last week, and I wasn't sure if I was going to load it on Wednesday. So obviously we know I didn't. I wanted to take the full week off to just completely give all of my attention and focus to causes and stories and history, to further educate myself so that I could continue supporting and making a change. So yeah, I didn't want to take away from that, so I didn't upload. I mentioned in the beginning of this clip that we were going to let you know where we decided to donate some money to help support. We've already done that, so I just wanted to give you guys an update there. We decided to support in the United States as well as Canada. You guys are making insane progress in the States right now, so we just wanted to just further support that. And I also wanted to honor Pride. So we ended up going with the Homeless Black Trans Women Fund. And I also wanted to bring attention and support our home here in Canada. And so we decided to donate to the Bent Arrow Healing Society. So I just wanted to pop in really quickly here, say hi, and let you know what we guys went with. I'm also going to provide some links in the description for you guys. I know that not everybody can financially donate right now, but I've come across a couple YouTube channels that are donating all of their AdSense to organizations that they have chosen to support. So it's a really great way to financially contribute when you don't actually have the money to do that. So just make sure when you guys are watching them, watch all of the ads, because it's the AdSense that they're using to make their donation. And yeah, I just think what a great way for you to give back when you might not financially have the means right now. So I'm going to leave that in the description. I'm going to let you guys get back to the video. I just wanted to pop in and give you guys an update. I will see you on Saturday. Now I'm looking and it's like, there's gray right there. It's going to drive me crazy. I got to get rid of it. Hold on. I don't see my hairdresser for like another 2 weeks. So, and I don't even know how this thing works. Oh, there we go. It's getting tight. So I hadn't heard about this case, and I just wanted to thank Anne for reaching out to me. She's the one who let me know about it, and it was tough to research because it's pretty much all in German. Everything that you can find that has like a lot of value and knowledge is from German articles. So it's taken me quite a while to research, to try to translate bits and pieces here, and then I would like start to translate something and realize I had already done it. So I've definitely been in this case deep for a while here. Before we get into it, let's get our bevies, let's get our snacks. Today I'm drinking a nude vodka soda. This is the strawberry kiwi flavor, and I'm drinking this because it's all I've been drinking the last couple days. I really like the nudes. This is like, it's a new favorite. I'm drinking this pretty much like as a replacement from water, so. Like, I realize I can't actually substitute water with vodka sodas, but I'm sure trying. All right, so today's mystery is on a young lady named Rebecca Reusch. I hope I'm saying her last name correctly. She's a 15-year-old who went missing last year in Berlin in an area called Britz. She had stayed the night at her sister and brother-in-law's house. Her sister woke up in the morning and took her toddler to daycare. Her brother-in-law was still in the house, and so that morning, Rebecca needed to get to school by 9:50 a.m. Her mother hadn't heard from her, and usually Rebecca is very responsible with checking in, letting them know even if she's going to be like 2 minutes late for class or getting home from a friend's house. So the fact that she hadn't spoken to her that morning when she first woke up was concerning to her. So Rebecca's sister called her husband to check and make sure that Rebecca was getting up for school. And when he checked, Rebecca wasn't at the house. He said that was around 7:15, 7:30. Rebecca's family just assumed maybe her cell phone had died, and when she didn't return home from school, they filed a missing persons report, and she's not been heard from or seen since. There have been a lot of twists and turns in this case, and originally I thought that the brother-in-law had something to do with this, but as I've been researching and investigating more, I'm all over the place. I truly don't know what happened to her, but there's a piece of me that feels like there's a possibility she could still be alive. So I want to share with you what I have learned and researched, and I want to hear what you guys think. Like I mentioned, Rebecca is 15 years old. She's the baby of her family. She has 2 sisters. The girls sound really close. They've shared that they begged their parents for a baby sister. They wanted one so bad. And in Christmas 2002, their one wish and Christmas present request was to have a baby sister. And 9 months later, Rebecca was born. She's described as shy, very loving, sensitive and cheerful. And she's into basically everything like 15-year-olds are these days. Boys and TikTok. She likes beauty and makeup. She's your typical 15-year-old. So on the evening of Sunday, February 17th, she was staying at Jessica's house. And this is something that she did regularly. She did like to spend weekends at her sister's house. My understanding is they lived in the same neighborhood as their parents, so it wasn't unusual for Rebecca to go and spend nights there. So I believe she had spent the weekend with her sister, and she was going to wake up on the Monday, go to school, and then go back to her parents' house. Her brother-in-law was at a work function that evening. I believe he's a chef, so it's not unusual for people in the restaurant industry to have like their industry party nights on a Sunday, because that's the day that they kind of get to chill when everybody else is recovering from the Saturday night before. So he came home around 5:45 a.m. and says he went to bed. Rebecca was sleeping on the couch. I don't think Jessica noticed or saw if she was still there when she woke up in the morning, but she woke up, took her little one to daycare, and then their mother had sent Rebecca a WhatsApp message asking if she was awake and if she was going to be getting ready for school soon, and she didn't hear anything back. So she wanted to make sure that she wasn't sleeping in. So Jessica called over and woke up her husband to check on Rebecca. He says he woke up around like 7:15 that call came in, so only about 15 minutes after Jessica left, and he said at that time he couldn't see her, so everybody assumed that Rebecca had already left the house. The last known activity from Rebecca was at 7:40. It says she had logged into her WhatsApp account, and her mom had sent her a WhatsApp message at 8 a.m. and that was received, but it was never read. I don't use WhatsApp too often, but my understanding is that when you send a message, you get like a check mark, and when it's received to the device that you're sending, a double check mark, and then when it's been read, I think they turn blue. So it was received, her phone, from what I can gather, that means like the phone is on if it's received on the device, but she didn't reply. Her mom tried to call her after that, and at that point forward, the phone has been off since. So they didn't want to get too worked up and just automatically think the worst. They just assumed maybe Rebecca hadn't charged her phone the night before and it had died. So they waited until after school, and then when she didn't show up, then they went to the police station to file a missing persons report. And right off the hop, it just sounds like there was already like a battle between Rebecca's family and the police. When they went to the station and said, this is out of character for her, she's missing, we need to actively start looking for her, they were told, you know, she's a teenager, oftentimes this happens, she's probably going to show up, so we can't look for her right now. So they ended up going and doing their own search right away and putting posters up all over the neighborhood and on social media, which is so frustrating. When it's a child, I feel like regardless of whether it is a runaway or not, you just take the precaution. You just get the ball rolling, and you know what? If it shows up that they're found and they were okay and it was a runaway situation, well, you know what? At least you tried. At least you did the right thing. Because, I mean, allowing precious time to go by and no one's actively looking for her, and then it turns out not to be a runaway case, to me, it was really frustrating to read. So yeah, it takes them 4 days to finally take this family seriously and start an active investigation. That makes no sense to me. So I'm actually hoping that that was just like a translation error. But from what I read in multiple articles, that was the number that kept coming up. So if I'm wrong, please correct me. I hope I am. But I kept seeing that they did not go and pursue an investigation until 4 days later. So at this time, finally, the family is able to provide a description of Rebecca and give them an idea of what she was wearing and provide photos for them to share on their website and then all over media. There's 2 sides to this story. The first side is from the police department, and the photo that they shared, it was this photo. And obviously when you look at it, just off the hop, you see a beautiful, beautiful girl, but you can tell that there's a filter on there. It's photoshopped. This isn't a realistic photo that you would want somebody to use to like have a reference point of like, oh, is that this girl? Well, no, like her lips don't look like this, or like there's no blurred effect walking around right now. We don't have this like filter over top of the face. So it's not an accurate representation of what Rebecca looked like for people to start looking right away. People have been frustrated by it because they're like, how can we look for someone when this isn't exactly what she looks like? We're wasting time. You know, maybe somebody already saw Rebecca, but because they're expecting, you know, makeup and a flawless filter walking around, they could have missed her. So the family said that they did provide multiple options for the police to use, and that was the one that the police decided to go with. Whereas the investigators, their explanation of it is that that was the one that was provided from the family, and they said that Rebecca really loved that photo of herself, so to use that one. I mean, we don't know, we weren't there, I can't say who did what, but all I know is the focus of the photo has been a really big deal. On the day that she went missing, she was wearing a white hoodie that said Rap Monster on it. She was wearing black and white Vans, her Vans backpack, a Fiji camera, and she also apparently took a fuzzy blanket from the house because when the investigators did a search, the family noticed that this fuzzy blanket that they usually have was missing. So that's the description that was provided of what Rebecca was wearing and had with her that day. One of the things that I think is really important also on that first day, and what has like kind of led me back and forth to thinking that she did leave the house that morning, is that they had scent dogs come, and the scent dogs led to her bus stop, and then they lost the trail. So I would assume it's because she got on the bus and then she's moving, so they can't follow it anymore. I know that there's like a lot of theories out there, and the majority of them used to be that the brother-in-law has something to do with this and that she never left the house. But the dogs, like those ones, I keep coming back to them. But I want to take you to why the brother-in-law is such a focal point in the story. So they do a sweep of the house and they collect evidence, and they also search Rebecca's sister and her husband's vehicle, and they find fibers in there that they believe are from the blanket, and they also find hair that they think is Rebecca's. So they grab that for testing, and then they also grab like Wi-Fi routers from the house too. So a week later, on the 28th of February, they interrogate the brother-in-law, and he's arrested that day, but the following day he's released because they don't have any evidence that can stick against him. So just based on that and the fact that they're releasing that to the public has like a lynch mob against him and they think he's guilty. Rebecca's family is adamant that there's no way he could have been involved in the disappearance. So from that point forward, there's kind of been a lot of judgment and confusion on how the police are seeing something and why are Rebecca's parents and family so supportive and steadfast on his innocence. And so in these early days, all Rebecca's family kept saying was, he's innocent, there's no way he could have done this. And when they spoke to the media, they would encourage him on the media to speak to the police and tell them the truth about his story. So, I mean, now we're entering, even more suspicion in people's mind, like what the hell are they talking about? So then the police release a statement saying that he is their main suspect. They say that since they've been questioning him, his stories are very inconsistent. The police said that the hair samples came back from the trunk and they were consistent with Rebecca's hair. They also said that he said after he looked for Rebecca that morning, he went right back to bed. Doorbell break. I guess we'll have a little sipper. So he said after he went to go and wake up Rebecca that morning and saw that she wasn't there, he went straight back to bed. But the police say when they searched the data on their Wi-Fi router, he was logged in that morning when he said he was asleep, and Rebecca, her cell phone was also logged in at the same time, meaning that they must have both been awake in the house at the same time. Then detectives got surveillance of the Autobahn highway of Rebecca's brother-in-law heading to Poland that morning. I think it was around 10:45 a.m. And then they also saw him going and doing another trip at about 10:45 p.m. the following day after Rebecca went missing. From what I read, the town that he was going to was very close. It wasn't a long distance, so it's not like he was driving for days to go into Poland. But it was a trip that he didn't share with detectives initially, so they were obviously really suspicious of him. And so 3 days after he was released from his first arrest, he's arrested a second time. So this is the first piece of, evidence that they have to work off of, and they release a description of his vehicle in the news because it's pretty noticeable. I think it's I've never heard of it in Canada. Maybe it's very popular in Europe. It's called a Renault Twingo, and it's a pinkish red. It's a noticeable vehicle. So now people are calling in tips to the police station saying that they've seen this vehicle kind of around that area of where the Autobahn would be. I guess there's a forest, woody area, as well as some lakes. So then they start doing an on-foot search in the woods, and then they get on boats and start combing through the lakes too. Early on, Rebecca's family was pretty active and shared a lot with the media. And on March 13th, she says the family doesn't believe that their son-in-law had anything to do with Rebecca's disappearance. And she mentions that Rebecca had an online friend who was wanting to meet her back in January. So she thinks that Rebecca secretly went to go and meet this guy and was possibly catfished, and that they possibly kidnapped her. From what I read, Rebecca had 2 Instagram accounts. So she had one for family and her close friends who knew her, and that one I think had about 600 followers. And then she had a other Instagram, I believe she gave off the impression that she was 19 years old or something like that, and that account had 30-some thousand followers on it. So allegedly she had a connection on there, and his name was Max, and he was wanting to meet Rebecca in person. 2 days after Rebecca goes missing, this Max guy's social media account is deleted. So at this point, there's not even any word out there that she's missing. It's just basically what like family and friends know and the close community. But this hasn't got like news attention yet. So the timing was very suspicious. At this point, the police, they aren't sharing a lot with the news about their investigation. And Rebecca's family is sharing a lot. They're doing a lot of interviews, they're sharing a lot on social media, and they're just trying to keep her story main page news so that it doesn't get forgotten about. And then this divide that they already kind of had starts to get bigger because the police come forward and say that they're hindering their investigation and they're oversharing things and they could possibly be damaging the case and bringing Rebecca back. But then the family got upset because they felt like that the police already had their suspect in jail. They weren't wanting to look any further. And they were wasting, valuable searching time on finding Rebecca alive by going out there and searching for her like she was dead. The police say that the family never shared with them that Max was a potential suspect and to further investigate this social media guy. And the family said that from day one, they knew about him and they told the police about him and that they are just trying to make themselves look better because they've got tunnel vision on their brother-in-law right now. So it's a complete battle between both sides. And then a few weeks after the brother-in-law was arrested, it turns out that the hair that was found in the car actually wasn't Rebecca's at all. So one of the main pieces of evidence they had to keep him in jail wasn't even evidence. And then he finally comes clean and admits to the police that the reason why he was on the Autobahn that day and the following day after Rebecca disappeared was because he was doing a drug deal and he was worried that he was going to get charged with a drug trafficking charge if he had admitted that. So he had shared that with the family and that's what they were pleading with him to share to show that he wasn't actually going to dispose of Rebecca's body or doing anything that involved her disappearance, but he was going to do a drug deal. I believe after 3 weeks of him being in jail and them again not having any concrete evidence against him, he's released. The police make it very clear that he's still their number one suspect and they're doing everything they can to locate Rebecca's body so they can essentially prove it. They're saying that it's very hard to keep the charge against him without a body so that they can try to establish like the motive after they see how she died. So again, they don't think Rebecca's alive. But what I think is interesting is that they've had several witnesses come forward who have said they've seen Rebecca leave the house when their main statement when they address the public is that they don't think she ever left and that she died in the house and then she was transported and disposed of. So in April, somebody came forward and said they saw Rebecca in a department store and that she was with an older gentleman and looked very uncomfortable. Another witness came forward in July and she says she was on the bus that Rebecca got on that day and she's very confident that it was Rebecca because she said she noticed her right away due to her clothes that she was wearing. This woman said that everybody on that day seemed to be in like very dark clothes just based on like the time of year. And Rebecca was wearing white and she had like a colorful camera with her. She also had a blanket draped along her right arm, this woman said. So she was like, I wonder why she has that blanket. And then just made note of what she was wearing because she thought that that outfit would be something that her daughter would be interested in and would look really cute in it. So she was like taking in and relating to key details of like what Rebecca looked like. There was also a witness, I believe she was friends in school with one of Rebecca's older sisters, so she was familiar with the family. I think there was more like of an acquaintance situation where she wouldn't actually go up and talk to Rebecca but knew what she looked like and who she was. And she said that that morning she saw Rebecca at the bus stop. She wasn't getting on that bus, so she didn't like stick around and see if she got on, but she did recognize and take note that, oh, there's Rebecca at the bus stop. So we have multiple people who have seen her since that day. And one thing that has been consistent with their stories as well is that they've said that when they share their information with police, they feel like they're not really being taken seriously. And that's been brought up to the police. And usually the statement back from the police is they acknowledge the report. They have 2,000 plus leads to go through. So it's hard for them to follow up and give like details on each, clue that they've been given. But I think a lot of people are just feeling, especially into those early months last year, that the police were just completely dropping the ball. So in September, I think they tried to release a little bit of the pressure that the public was putting on them to keep looking for her. And they went back out to the same wooded area that they had gone to before and did another 2-day search, but came up with nothing. There hasn't been any piece of clothing, the blanket, her phone, her backpack, nothing. There's been zero trace of Rebecca anywhere. So basically all we have right now is a lot of speculation. There's a student from Rebecca's school that said the Friday before her disappearance, she heard and saw Rebecca getting in an argument with some boys in her class. And from what I could understand, Rebecca was very silent on social media that weekend before she disappeared, which wasn't normal for her. And she expressed that she didn't want to go back to the school. I believe there was some bullying going on there. And so some people think that there could be a possibility of having somebody from the school linked to her disappearance. Others think that because of the bullying, she just ran away. Her family doesn't seem to be on board with the runaway theory, though. Everybody in the family says that they're very close. They kept in constant contact with each other. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the story, Rebecca would let them know if she was just even going to be like a couple minutes late from somewhere. So to put her family through agony of just simply running away because she was dealing with bullying and at school, it just doesn't make sense to them, because they feel like if it was something Rebecca was very serious and adamant on about changing schools, they would respect her and work through it with her and try to find a solution. So I also don't really think she ran away. I do agree more with the family on the fact that there is a chance that she could still be alive, just based on the fact like nothing has been found, like not even like one little shred of evidence. There was no speck of blood in the house. There was nothing in the car. The fact that multiple witnesses who don't know each other were able to give very similar details of that morning and just kind of like tie in the day, and then someone say that they've seen her in Poland now, that makes sense to me. I do think there is a really strong possibility that she did meet somebody online. A lot of it goes to her camera and her blanket for me. I guess her mom always said to her and the kids, never just like sit on like the bare ground, always, sit on a blanket and just like, protect your bottoms and stuff. So if that's something that was very, commonly known in their family and something that they just like always instilled, for her to like take the blanket to like go meet somebody somewhere and like have a day and chat together, that makes sense. And the camera too also just like solidifies that for me, because, like at that age, you're like, oh, let's, like take some cute Instamac pictures so we can, remember this day. So those two things, those just like pop up in my head constantly, that she did plan on going and meeting somebody and wanting to document it and hang out and just chill somewhere. And I think that unfortunately it was somebody who catfished and kidnapped her. For the police are not really looking elsewhere besides the brother-in-law, and I think all they're really wanting to do is just look for a clue that ties him to this, not really look for Rebecca. I did read a recent article that said that the police have asked for assistance abroad to see if they can locate Rebecca's cell phone. I guess their hope would be that if they can find the phone, they can try to, retrace steps back of like where she was through the tracker on there. But again, it's like they're looking for items, they're not looking for her. So yeah, I've been all over the place with this one. Initially, I really did think that the brother-in-law had something to do with it. And now, I don't know, I'm all over the place. The only piece that makes me feel like maybe it could still be him is the data that they got back from the Wi-Fi router in the house, and just the fact that it had both her and him at the house around 8 a.m. was the timeline on there, I believe, which is a predicament because he said that at 7:15 he looked around the house and didn't see her, and then he said that he went back to bed. So, why is the router saying different? It's saying you were on your phone and then it's saying Rebecca was also on her phone. But I don't know, you guys. That's the only only thing that kind of makes me question the brother. But there's so much more that shows that she did make it out of the house, in my opinion. So I don't know. I don't know if it's just me really wanting to hope that she's still alive so bad. I do though. I do feel like there's a strong chance that she can be alive and someone has her, but it obviously is going to take like more of an effort besides the detectives that are on this case right now, because I do feel like they've got tunnel vision. So we're going to need like people from abroad to help out on this one, is my thoughts. I don't know, you guys. I'm all over the place with it. I'd love to know your guys' theory. I'd love to know if you've heard of this missing case yourself and if you have anything to add to it. Like I said, it's been really difficult to try to piece together the articles and find the amount of information that I would love to have. But that also is just like part of the frustration of these missing person cases, is that we don't have the information that we need. Because if we did, we could probably find them. I have a feeling we're probably going to do a part 2 on this, because I think this is something that's just going to, as you know, evidence comes in, hopefully there's going to be new evidence to show that there's a chance that she's still alive. If you guys have anything to share, or you know, come across like articles, especially if you speak German, that would be super helpful. Leave those in the comments for me to follow up with, because yeah, I mean, my English is pretty questionable on a good day. So German is just out of the question for this one. Let me know your theories, because one thing I love about like sharing our theories is that I don't see some of the things the way that you guys see them. So when you share something, it's like not even on my radar, and then it'll like lead me to like a whole other direction of like focusing my attention on. So I love when you guys share with me. But that is it from me today, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It means the world to me. I love and I appreciate you so, so much. I will see you on Saturday. Until then, stay safe, kids. Love each other, please. Love each other. Love yourself. And I will see you soon. Bye.